Revenge is a dish best served cold. That actually comes from a French author, not Alexander Dumas, who wrote The Count of Monte Cristo in the 1800s. But it is a dang good way how to be a plot device, I guess would be the phrase. The Count of The Count of Monte Cristo is the book was written in the 1800s, 1860s, or whatever, and there's a 2002 adaptation starring I forgot his name, Gravenitz or something like that, Guy Pearce, and one of the last two roles of Richard Harris, of course, when he played Dumbledore. And this one, he also has a beard. Make sense of that. So, this is a tale of revenge, pirates, morality, and just all around just a little bit of French deception. It also stars a very young Henry Cavill playing a son, which I was very surprised by. So yeah, how do I feel about this one? Well, I wouldn't have watched it had it not been a suggestion by A. You know who you are, A. That's all I'm going to say. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I saw this movie as a blending of many generations of movies coming together to form a cohesive, half fun, half serious type of movie. Let me explain. So when you think of pirates, the first thing that comes to mind for me is treasure, flags and stuff like that. And we're not talking One Piece. We're talking about like Douglas Fairbanks / Errol Flynn. And we get a little bit of that here. I mean, there's a little bit of there's some of the comedy / the fun. It's like after he escapes from a prison, we get our hero to join with a group of people as he has the opportunity to either have a knife fight with a guy named Jacopo, or that Edmond Dantes can take his life or spare him. Lo and behold, he decides to, after everything he learned inside Chateau Del or whatever, he says, he was like, hey, you're going to have your friend back here and also me. So we do get a little bit of that. We get like a pirate ship. We get like we get a buried treasure scene. And I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool. I mean, seriously, they go and we find what is a giant treasure chest. Excuse me, this movie is 2 hours and 11 minutes, but it's also got the drama and it's got the treason, because Edmond Dantes is promoted to a captain of a ship or whatever, the Paragon or Pharaon or something like that, and he's entrusted with a letter. He's entrusted with a letter to deliver to this one Monsieur, or I forgot who. It's like, yeah. And of course he can't read, so kind of his naivete is exploited when it's actually given like something to do with Napoleon. It's not that important. The letter's not that important. It's the very first device that's used to send him to this truly awful jail. It's probably right out there with Devil's Island. Just the isolation that the prisoners feel. And I mean, it's like, it's like this man that he thought that he could trust, Villefort and Fernand, two of his friends, like he gets taken over because this Villefort wanted to keep himself in power, so he's going to go and rather than have him commit patricide, he hired an assassin and have him perform the patricide. And it is ugly. And of course he has someone take the fall for him. And lo and behold, happens to be the naive Dantes, and he's taken over to the prison. And we get to see Richard Harris with a beard, being more, I don't know, educated and more, what's the word I'm looking for, I guess, yeah, sympathetic, at the same time not taking any crud because he can see what's going on with him. So it's like All right, so we get to see the digging. They're trying to dig their way out of the shet, out of this prison that's 2 miles from sea. A pre-Alcatraz, anyone? So yeah, and ultimately, he joins the pirate group. So yeah, it's like, before that, it's like we get to see acting inside there. He looks pretty freaking gaunt with a beard and a shirt that's, even though this shirt is like a night shirt, you could tell it's just tattered. It's just absolutely, just not pretty. And just during this time, he's just freaking absolutely just just goes through pure hell, barely eating, just getting what's slop like a soup every day, and also they actually catch a rat that's considered nutritious. That's the hell that they're going through, and it's just, it's some good acting there. It's some good, like, on the screen, and it's just like you really do feel for him. He did get wrong when he didn't do anything wrong by a bunch of true scumbags, and when he returns, he becomes the Count of Monte Cristo, and it's just, and he gets his revenge in the best way possible, slowly, by having them arrested for crimes that he purposely made them do. And just one example, when there's this one of them is like going to be sent to the same island. He's like, hey, we're going to let you be taken out the easy way, with a firearm. That way he just, excuse me, let himself be, like, you just do that with that. Nope. He says, you're not getting away so easily. That is so poetic and just so beautiful. A great way for a real schmuck to get his just desserts, and I loved it. But yeah, like I said, this movie, it balances it enough between the comedy, the fun, the festivities, and the drama. It's like, this movie goes through a wide range of genres, and I felt like it handled the balancing overall really dang well. This movie may not be for everyone. It's like, hey, it's like the first hour, first 15 minutes, you are getting thrown into a lot of action and stuff going on. So that was a lot. There was a lot of stuff going on, like they're trying to get the swimming, trying to get this captain to be rescued, and then of course, with the letter being delivered, it's like it's all happening kind of like rapid fire. So you do have to pay a little attention, but it leads to the ultimate framed for treason motive, and then things do slow down once he gets into that hellish prison, and then from there it paces itself pretty well. It's like, it continues at a good pace. I like that, but some people may not like some people may see the kind of whiplash effect. That was something I've noticed, but here, it's about like half fun, because we get some fireworks too. We get some comedic elements, especially with the manservant. That just the beards just were pretty cool. I like that. What more can I say? It's Jim Gavanis, I think his name is, the actor. Here he's doing really dang good, and he'd eventually do some stuff down the road I'm not going to commentate on. Let's just say I enjoyed him in this. Okay. For Richard Harris, instead of like having the Hollywood cliche of appearing through a wall during a prison breakout, he appears through the floor, which was so funny. It was just like, what the heck is this? Did he use some Harry Potter spell to transport himself there? But ultimately, I just think that this being with Harry Potter, and this being like his final kind of 3-ish roles, it's a good way to go out on a very long career, especially in Gladiator and some other movies. So I was like, dang, yes. And like I said, this also contains a very young Henry, like a young Henry Cavill, like 19 or something like that. So it's interesting to see him here, and then him being portrayed in like Superman, Warhammer 40K or whatever. So yeah. So what I ultimately think of The Count of Monte Cristo, I think this movie is a good time. It's half serious, half fun, and at 2 hours and 11 minutes, does it feel long? Well, this is a movie made for movie fans. It's one that anyone can really enjoy, but you have to be in a certain mindset to understand that's what's going on. It's a revenge tale. It is a slow burn, so do keep that in mind. But yeah, um, maybe even read the novel. I've never read it. Maybe I will. I don't know. But yes, I do recommend that you watch The Count of Monte Cristo from 2002.